everybody. Good evening. I hope you can hear me okay. Tell me in the chat if my voice is loud enough, if it needs to be louder, if you can hear me at all. That'd be great. It is late here in the UK, so I will not be streaming for hours and hours, but I have a very exciting update to share with you guys. Something I've been working on in the background. To do with Scientology here in the UK and its charity status. So hello everybody in the chat. Hello to Matt. How's it going? Goldie's in the house. That's what we like to see. Eva. Hi Goldie, congrats on your wedding. Yes, exactly. Congrats Goldie on getting married. Very exciting news. Oh, righty, Beachcomber. I'm going to sleep now, I promise. Well, you can always catch this on replay. This won't be a long stream anyway. So, hello, Casey. Hello, Erica. Hi, Kevin. Alrighty, so let's get cracking. So, I don't know if you guys have seen the video I've done previously about the Scientology's charity status here in the UK. But to give you everything in a nutshell, the Church Scientology is not a registered charity here in the UK. They got their tax-exempt status in the US in the 1990s, 1993, I believe it was. And it's around the same time they applied to be a charity here in the UK. Now, the charity law and tax exemption works a little bit differently here to how it does over in the States. In order to apply for tax exemption, you have to apply to be a charity. Now, a religious charity is a thing. You can be a charity and be religious. However, there's a clause that says you can only get tax exempt status and be a charity if you can prove that you exist for the public benefit. They won't just give you tax exemption for the sake of being a religion or being a church. So when they applied for charity status in 1999 here in the UK, they were denied charity status because they couldn't prove that they exist for the public benefit. They couldn't prove that they do stuff for the public good, and therefore the Charity Commission denied their application. I did a whole video on it. Goldie just posted a link in the chat to it, so go and check that out if you haven't already. But that's basically it in a nutshell. The only UK registered charity that Scientology has here is Narconon, their drug rehabilitation program. They have a centre down in Sussex, I believe, where they are a registered charity, and it was easier for them to prove because they say we rehabilitate people off drugs and therefore we're for the public benefit. They got charity status for that. But that's just Narconon, that's not the church. Again, there's a whole other video on Narconon and their latest inspection by the Care Quality Commission. But Narconon is the only UK registered charity. A couple of legal developments that have happened over the years are in I believe it was 2014. Louisa Hodkin and Ali Caucioli, who are staff members at the Church of Scientology in London. I used to work with them. They wanted to get married, and they wanted to get married in the London church building. And in order to do that, you have to apply for a license to be able to perform religious marriage ceremonies in the building. And it went to the Supreme Court, and it was initially denied, and the Supreme Court overturned it and declared the Church of Scientology London a religious building that therefore can host and hold wedding ceremonies. Since then, they had a little battle with there are lots of different tax situations here in the UK, and one of the sort of business property type taxes that exists, an exemption that can be made is if your building is open to the public for religious purposes, you offer public religious services, then you can get some relief on some of the business property tax that you pay. And they applied to do this, and they had to prove that the Sunday service and so on were things that the public can go along to, and they don't have to pay money, and it's open to all, and that therefore they are a religious building open for public worship. And they, again, won that case. That was only earlier this year, January of this year. They won the case, and the building was declared a place open for public worship. So they've had some minor victories. And I was looking at this and thinking, this is kind of paving the way for Scientology to apply for charity status again. Now, in 1999, when they applied, they said it's down to the church to prove that they exist for the public benefit, and they couldn't do that. And they haven't, as far as I'm aware, tried to appeal it or anything. And I thought with all these recent wins in the UK legal system, they were going to use that as evidence of why they should now be considered a charity, because they're considered a religious building publicly open for religious worship. So I did something, didn't I? I contacted the Charities Commission. I submitted a couple of weeks ago a Freedom of Information Act request to the Charities Commission with 5 questions that I wanted answered about Scientology, so that we could get an update on whether they are working behind the scenes to apply again for charity status. I today received the response from the Charity Commission for this Freedom of Information Act request. And so I thought I would share it with you guys here publicly on the stream. So this is the most recent update from the Charities Commission as of today as to where Scientology is at with its charity status. So let me share this with you. This is the letter that I got from the Charity Commission. I've blocked out my email address because it was sent from my private email rather than my public one. If you guys want to email me, you can email me at hello@apostatealex.com. But this is the response that I received today. I'm going to skip the first bit because it shows all of the things I requested and it goes through them one by one. So I'm going to do that. So, number 1, I asked, has the Church of Scientology appealed or made any attempt to overturn the Charity Commission's 1999 decision? The Charity Commission confirmed there is no information about this on their records, and they can confirm the Commission does not hold any records of the Church contacting the Commission to appeal or overturn their decision in 1999. So they accepted the decision that they were not a charity, and since then they have not tried to appeal it. Which kind of surprised me because I thought they were trying to appeal it back then, but they haven't done that. Question 2. Have the Church of Scientology made any subsequent applications to be considered for charity status? So I thought maybe if they haven't tried to appeal it, they have submitted a fresh request. And the response is, I've searched the unregistered organization's records and confirmed the Commission does not hold any records of any subsequent applications for charity status from the Church of Scientology. So they haven't appealed the original 1999 decision, and they haven't yet made a second application, a new application for Charity Commission for charity status. Question 3, and this is what I thought would be telling, because my thought on the matter would be that with the recent legal wins that they've had, perhaps they're in some sort of dialogue with the Charity Commission, perhaps asking them, what do we need to do to overturn this decision, or with these recent legal findings, is there a likelihood that we would be accepted again? I thought maybe they would be contacting the Charity Commission before making an appeal or a fresh request or application. Maybe they've contacted them to find out what their likelihood is. So I asked them this. I said, where are we? Are there any ongoing dialogues between the Charity Commission and the Church of Scientology? If so, I would like to understand the context of these, and if possible, see evidence of any such conversations, emails, letters, etc. And the response: I've searched the organization's records and confirm the Commission does not hold any records of ongoing dialogues between the Church of Scientology and the Commission. I confirm no emails or letters are held. So this confirms under the Freedom of Information Act that since the 1999 decision to deny the UK charity status, to deny the UK Church of Scientology charity status, since 1999, the Church of Scientology have had no dialogue with the Charity Commission at all. I then wanted to find out more about the front groups and things that they do, because I wondered if perhaps they were trying to get further charities registered and approved that aren't specifically the Church of Scientology, but might bolster their case. Narconon is a registered charity. I wanted to know if there are other groups had applied to register or so on, and perhaps they could have used that as a case to make another application. So again, I asked this question. Narconon is currently a registered charity in the UK. Are there any other Scientology-related groups that have applied, been accepted, or rejected for charity status in the UK? The groups I'm particularly interested in are Youth for Human Rights, Criminon, Foundation for a Drug-Free World, Applied Scholastics, United for Human Rights, and Citizens Commission on Human Rights. Those are some of the major front groups that Scientology use that could realistically justify a charity status, because they are actively doing work in those areas. I confirm this information is not held by the Commission. I've searched the Commission's records and confirmed that none of the organisations you've mentioned above have charity status or have even made applications to become registered by the Charities Commission. So far, we can see that Scientology have had no dialogue and haven't attempted to do anything with the Charity Commission since 1999, which surprised me, to be honest, because I thought there would have been something at least. But we know that as a fact now. And then I wanted to check, as my final question, if/when the Church of Scientology do try to apply for charity status again, what is the process? What safeguards are in place? Because during their application in 1999, the Charity Commission made it very clear that there were serious concerns about the lack of public benefit and the potential harm the Church of Scientology do to people here in the UK. So I wanted to ask what they would do if they did apply again. So my question was, what safeguards are in place, and what is the process that the Charity Commission would go through should the church apply for charity status again? How would the Charity Commission go about speaking to former members, survivors, and victims of Scientology's malpractices and abuse as part of the review process? This is the response I got. I confirm the Commission does not have any safeguards in place should the Church of Scientology make another application for charity status. All organisations applying would need to follow the procedures set out on the Gov website. If you're dissatisfied, you can whatever. And that is the end of the Freedom of Information Act request. So this final one here says they don't have a plan in place and there are no safeguards, and they would just follow the normal procedure should they apply again, which is slightly worrying, because I would have thought they would have some sort of safeguard in place based on the concerns that were raised in the first application. But there you have it, in writing, legally, through the Freedom of Information Act request, that the Church of Scientology in the UK have not had any dialogue. They're not trying to register as a charity here yet, at least. And I will keep on the case and do regular check-ins to see if this is going to change. It was surprising that they haven't. I thought they would have done something by now. But we know for a fact now, it is an update. The Church of Scientology accepted their rejection in 1999 and accepted that they were declared non-existent for the public benefit. And they haven't done anything to try and challenge that. And they haven't since contact the Charities Commission to appeal or overturn or try again, which is interesting news, but positive nonetheless. So that is the update on where the UK Church of Scientology currently sits with the Charity Commission. So I know it's not groundbreaking news, but I thought it was interesting nonetheless. So there you have it. Let's jump into Q&A now, guys. Before I do that, I do want to just shout out that if you want to support the channel, like, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, really, really helps get the channel out there. I really appreciate all the work that you guys are doing already on that. My channel is growing. It's insanely amounts in comparison to what I expected. So I've just hit 3,500 subscribers, which I never thought was going to happen this quickly. I've been going, less than 2 months. So thank you for that. That's all of your guys' hard work. If you want to support the channel financially, you can buy me a coffee. There's a link in the description down below. A very generous viewer who wants to stay anonymous actually donated enough money for me to buy this new microphone. So thank you so much for that. It's you guys that support me and allow me to continue doing what I'm doing. there are a lot of things going on in the background before I jump into Q&A that I'm not able to share with you guys just yet. But there are lots of things happening in the background. This is the start of it, and I wanted to show this to you guys, to share it with you, so that you can see that what you see on YouTube is not the be all and end all of what I'm up to behind the scenes, working to challenge these abuses in the church and so on. So there's a lot going on, and I can't wait to update you, because there's some really exciting, interesting things that I can't wait to share with you. So please bear with me on that. Matt M, Alex, Alex, Alex or Alex? I think Alex works better, but really wants a hate site. I mean, it's not exactly a goal of mine. I don't really want them making lies and stories up about me. But don't get me wrong, it would be bloody hilarious if they did do a hate website. One of the campaigns on the Buy Me a Coffee thing down below, actually there's an option to donate £10, which covers the cost of a domain. I have a list of all of the domains based on what they've bought for other people like Mike Rinder and Aaron Smith-Levin and so on, all of the likely domain names that they would try and buy to create a hate site. So one of the campaigns I've got on Buy Me a Coffee is to donate the cost of a domain so I can try and buy them up before they have the chance. So that's something you can support with if you want to. Alrighty, let's go on with this Q&A. Yeah, Beach Kuma. Is it Kuma or Coma? Please tell me in the comments how to pronounce your name, because I always wonder that when I read it online. Kuma or Coma? Yes, Osa. It's great on the outside, and you'll be used to the sleep deprivation. Yeah, Osa. Let's say hi to Tracy and Mark and Stefania, the UK London Osa people. If they're not watching live, they will see this at some point. So, hey guys, how's it going? I hope you guys are well. And get in touch. I haven't spoken to you in so long. I hope it's all going great for you in the church. Righty. Jane Bradford. Alex, do you know if that's the same in Scotland, or like most things different? Guessing different, as it says England and Wales. Yes, the Charity Commission only deals with charities in England and Wales. Scotland has a whole separate process, and I'm currently looking into that side of things. I know it is different up there with Scientology and their front groups and the charities, and I plan to do a whole separate video on that on Scotland, because they are set up in the UK or in England and Wales to run through an Australian registered firm called the Church of Scientology Religious Education College Incorporated. They do it through Australia for tax reasons, and it's a bit dodgy, but that's how they do it. In Scotland, they actually run through a firm or a business or an organization called Happy, the Hubbard Association of Professional. I can't actually remember what it is. Hubbard Association of something. The P and then an I think is international, something like that. Hubbard Applied Practitioners. Anyway, they run through that organization in Scotland, and I need to look into it, whether they're a charity or not. So bear with me on that one, and I'll get you an update soon. Alrighty. Some of our names appear in red now. Why? I don't have the answer to that. I think it may have something to do with whether you are subscribed or not. It could also be that you are officially PTS. If you are a member of the channel, again, another way you can support the channel is a membership. I think it's set at $5 or $6 a month. You get a little badge next to your name. It says officially PTS. And there's a few other little perks like that. You get videos access early, a little bit earlier than everyone else. So it could be that maybe you're one of my channel members, and that makes your name appear different in the chat. But not sure. I will have a look. Apostate Amanda, I love the lights turning all sorts of pretty colors on my microphone. Thank you. I do actually find it mildly annoying, and I'm trying to figure out a way to change it. I have a Mac and HyperX who make the microphone. Their software that allows you to change the colors isn't a Mac software, it's only PC. So I'm in contact with them to try and figure it out, because I want it to just be one color or two, because it's a bit distracting. But it's cool for now. So thank you. The most important thing is the quality of the microphone, which is insane. Okie dokie, heart-shaped aisle. We'll have to study this closely on replay, crew. COS UK is laundering money through COS South Australia via a loophole, off playing some of the grandkids at school holidays. Well, enjoy the sunshine. I'm very jealous. It's quite cold and not very sunny in the UK at the moment because it's the UK and it's April. So yes, and that is true. They are set up through an Australian corporation, and there's a really interesting tax setup there that I'm trying to dissect at the moment, and I hopefully will bring more light to it in a future video. Colonel Brock, will there be a part 2 to your interview with John Poe? Great question. And the answer is yes. We set out doing that interview with some certain topics and ideas that I wanted to cover, and we actually went down a rabbit hole of conversation that I didn't expect, and it ended up in a completely different place to what I thought it would. So instead of rambling on for 2 hours and making it a really long conversation, I cut it at an hour-ish. And yes, we are going to do a part 2 because we only just scratched the surface of what that guy's had going on in his life and his experiences. John Poe is such a cool guy, and it's amazing to hear his stories. So I want to share more of those with you guys. So there will be a part 2 coming soon. I also will be going live tomorrow with Doug Kramer from Dazed But Not Confused. He and I have come up with an idea of doing a weekly Q&A show type thing live every Thursday at 2 p.m. because Thursday at 2 p.m. is a landmark time in the Scientology calendar every week. So we thought it'd be funny to do that. It's 2 p.m. Pacific time, so it'll be 10 p.m. UK time, and we're going to do the first one tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Scientology recovery, cult recovery, and comparing our experiences and what it's been like for both of us. And then we'll do a Q&A at the end. So watch that tomorrow, and there will be a show every Thursday. Thursdays at 2. And we're going to try and experiment with this new StreamYard feature that allows us to stream on 2 channels at the same time. So watch out for that on tomorrow. Anna Harter, hey, thank you for commenting. Thank you for joining. Any new info on the ISI report and greenfields? No, so there hasn't been another inspection that I'm aware of since the last one, and I don't expect there to be one for a while. They don't inspect every year, it's every few years. And then the pandemic, I just said the word, I'm going to get blocked on YouTube now. The thing that happened has put everything back in their system. So I wouldn't expect them to be investigated or inspected again for some time. They only do these inspections every few years or so often. Kathy Kimsey, Jane Bradford, I'll be visiting Scotland for the first time in May. I can't wait to visit your beautiful country. Yes, UK is amazing, and Scotland particularly is beautiful. I love it up there. My family are Scottish, so it has a special place in my heart, and I do love it up there. Mandy Vetowski at Alex, is there transparency of the funds of charities in the UK? Yes. So as a registered charity, you have to, one of the things you have to do is prove that you are reinvesting 100% of your profits back into charity, and you have to be spending the money for the public good. That's part of the requirement of a registered charity. And as part of that, they do extra financial audits on the financial documents that you wouldn't go through as a normal registered company. So registered charities do get more scrutiny, and that is something that the church would have to do. If you look up the video I did on Narcanon, you can actually see I go through some of those things. They do have to declare who their biggest funders are, what they're spending money on, how many employees they have, and so on. So that is another thing that they would have to contend with, which perhaps might be another reason why they don't want to register as a charity for the church itself, because they would become a lot more scrutinized than they currently are, because they'd have to prove they're spending money on a public benefit rather than sending up lines to the mother church, over in the States, which is what they currently do. Colonel Brock, does the Aftermath Foundation help people in the UK? Yes, 100%. The Aftermath Foundation helps Scientology, people wanting to leave Scientology, globally. Wherever you are in the world, they will help you if you are trying to leave. They have contacts in most countries, if not all countries that have Scientology bases, volunteers, people willing to help. The phone number is a US number if you call because you need help. So I'm actually working with Claire and Mark Headley to try and figure out a way of getting a UK number that will be cheaper or free to call for people in the UK. But absolutely, if you want to leave Scientology and you're in the UK, the Aftermath Foundation can and will help. They will fly you wherever you need to go. If you've been posted in Germany and your family are in America and you want to leave, they will support you in getting you back to home or wherever you need to be, and that includes the UK. Okie dokie. Jane, that was a good interview. Looking forward to part 2. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really do love Poe. He's a great guy. One Love. Any idea where to start changing the religious status in the US? Where to even start? Great job investigation in the UK. Thank you. This is a really tough one because I know a lot of work is going on behind the scenes with Aaron Smith-Levin and Mike Rinder and Claire and Mark Headley. There's lots of lawsuits going on with human child trafficking and David Miscavige and so on. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. I'm not a US expert at all, so I'm probably not the best person to answer that question. But I know a lot of things are going on. My focus is on the people who want to leave. If Scientology was outlawed tomorrow, they lost their tax exempt status, and for some reason it was made illegal to be a Scientologist, something really drastic like that. People in Scientology won't overnight suddenly want to leave because they will still believe in Scientology. So for me, the focus is how do we start getting people to realize what they're in, how they're being controlled and coerced, to change their mindset so they want to leave. When I was in Scientology, if the US tax exempt status was revoked and there was a big challenge to its existence, that would actually have fueled me and everyone else to fight harder and make an even more of a point of how Scientology is a legitimate religion, because your religion is under attack. Everything you believe in, your life, everything you dedicate your life to is under attack. So you're going to want to fight harder. So I think the tax exempt status removal thing is a great idea, and it's absolutely something that needs to happen. But I think there also needs to be a focus on waking people up and making sure there's support out there for those who do want to leave off the back of it. Okie dokie. Let's have a little look at these. Leanne, COS were able to get church status in Australia because when it went to court, no one at the time could state they weren't a church. It can still be appealed, but no one has ever tried. Yeah, I think the Australian setup is interesting and something I'm researching and learning more about day by day. And hopefully I can get some videos together on that soon once I know it a little bit more. But right now, my knowledge is a little bit lacking when it comes to Australia and their setup over there. Goldie, I know Mike suggests writing to members of the House Ways and Means Committee. Yes, if you're in the US and you want to contribute towards the tax exempt battle and stuff over there, 100% you should write to your, is it local representative or senator or whatever, and write to the House Ways and Means Committee. They're the ones that review things like the tax exempt status. So that's something that you can do for sure. Jim Jenkins. Hey, Alex from Minnesota, sir. Love your point of view. Thank you. And great to have someone from the US on the channel. The majority of my viewers are US subscribers, which doesn't surprise me. I do most of my streams late at night. So yeah, great to have a little global following. So thank you so much. Colonel Brock, what was your highest level on the bridge? So similar to Aaron Smith-Levin, I didn't do a great deal of bridge work while I was in the Church of Scientology, because when you're on staff, you're meant to get servicing and stuff for free, which I was supposed to get, and I got a limited amount. But going up the bridge is not really a priority for non-paying staff members, so it's not really a thing that happens. So I didn't get to clear or anything like that. I did a lot of auditing for specific handling. I did some TRs and bull baiting, which Claire and Mark actually did a really great demonstration of bull baiting and the training routines and TRs on yesterday's stream. So go and check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, did a lot of that, but that's not necessarily part of the bridge itself. So yeah, a lot of my training was to do with staff training and ethics and doing my staff statuses, and lots of the introductory courses, the basics books and lectures, and so on. So lots of stuff. But going up the bridge is not something that happens a lot to staff members and SEAL members, unless you're paying or you have a reason to for your post. If you are in the technical division and you're in charge of auditors, for example, as a case supervisor, you have to have gone up the bridge because you're instructing and managing the auditors delivering certain levels. So you need to be able to see the levels because you've done them yourself. So if your post requires it, you do go up the bridge on staff. But for me, I was in the public Div 6A, the 6A division, which is the book selling and promotion. I was out on the streets selling books all the time. I was director of public book sales. So I didn't need to be an auditor or anything for my post. So all of my training was to do with my hat, they call it, my job in the church. Marilyn, do you have the links for my? Oh, well, thank you. That's very, very kind of you to buy me a cup of coffee. Marilyn, for those of you who don't know, she makes the Xenu bobblehead crochet outfits that Mike, Mark, and Claire and Aaron have all got. So if you want to go check her shop out, go and do it. She's amazing. And I know she's actually working on one for me when my bobblehead arrives. And so I will have a little costume. So I'll share that as soon as I get it. But yeah, go and check Marilyn out. She's a really cool person and she makes really cool crochet stuff and costumes and so on. D, I love your voice in the Scientology space. Thank you for sharing your story, experience, and for giving others a platform to share their stories. Thank you so much. That does mean a lot. And I'm glad that what I'm doing is starting to make a difference. I started out wanting to do exactly that, create a platform for people to share their experiences and share my experiences and stories and let others do the same. And I'm glad that that's coming across because that is 100% my goal. And I don't have... I'm not the sort of person that wants to take the church down in a really attacky way on my channel. My channel is all about sharing experiences and stories, and I hope that's coming across. One of the reasons I do that, by the way, is not because I don't believe that the church should be shut down or anything like that. For me, actually, I put myself in the headspace that I was in when I was a Scientologist. If I'd have come across a channel as a Scientologist and I had doubts and I was looking it up on YouTube and I came across a channel that was, overtly SPTV or, fight against the church and all of these sorts of things, it has a place 100%. But it kind of would have put me off watching or taking it seriously because I kind of, when I was in that questioning mindset, would have wanted to hear information from someone, hear stories that aren't motivated by a desire to attack the church. So that's kind of what I'm doing this for, is by not overtly attacking, but just giving people the stories, the truth, the experiences, then people can make their own minds up. And I think by doing that, I won't put too many people off who are currently in Scientology because they'll take it seriously and listen to the stories that people are sharing rather than instantly switch off in their mind, because that's what you do as a Scientologist. If someone comes up and attacks the church, you believe in Xenu, you believe in aliens, you disconnect families, I got this day in, day out, and you don't listen to it as a Scientologist, you just shut down in your head. And as soon as someone makes a comment like that, you think, I'm not going to listen to a word this person says because they clearly have a bone to pick against Scientology. They're misinformed. They don't know what they're talking about because Scientology isn't a cult, and I'm happy and I'm here because I want to be. So I'm not going to listen to anything they say. That's what your mind does when you're in Scientology and you see and hear people attacking. So I try actively not to do that, to share experiences and say, look, this is what this person went through. This is what happened to this person. This is what I went through. And just sharing facts and sharing stories, and people can make their own mind up from that. And I hope that's coming across. So thank you. Jane Bradford, it's nice to get it from a UK point of view. Yes, that's another thing I wanted to do, is there's not a great deal of stuff out there at the moment about the UK. There's some old historical press articles and so on through other people like Martin Padfield and John Atack he's done a lot in exposing and sharing information about the UK operations. But in recent times, there hasn't been so much. And that's one of the things I want to do is share the UK story. And I can tell you, I get messages almost daily from people reaching out that might not necessarily want to share their story publicly on my channel, but just saying, hearing the UK voice has really helped with my recovery, or hearing a UK story makes me realize I'm not alone and other people went through the same thing. And so that's my goal, is to be a UK voice and an example of some of the things that happen in Scientology, not just on staff, but also in the UK, worldwide, and also give the perspective of someone who worked in a local city organisation, the London Church. These things, abuses and coercive control and so on, that happened to me. I was locked in a room by an ethics officer, and I was told I couldn't leave until I'd done written up my transgressions, my OW write-up. These things happen not just to people in the Sea Org and not just in the States. They happen globally. They happen to everyone. It is a worldwide part of Scientology, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing, is to share that information so people can see it's not just the elite. It's not just because when I joined Scientology, I heard a lot of these stories and I thought, oh, and I was under the impression maybe it's just over in the States, maybe it's done differently there, maybe it's not being applied correctly, it's not the same over here, and that was the excuse I gave myself in my head. So what I'm trying to do is help combat that question in people's minds so they can realize that it's not just in the States, it's not just the Sea Org, it's everyday members worldwide, it's staff members. These things happen because it is a part of Scientology. It's not just a mismanagement issue. Colonel Brock, are you allowed to have pets in the UK? Do you have any? Yes, I don't actually know if there are any countries that don't allow you to have pets. I don't see why having a pet would be illegal. So yes, we can totally have pets. I personally don't have any pets. My mum has a cat. I spend a lot of time at my mum's house because she lives in the same area that my friends are, that I grew up in. So yes, I occasionally have access to a cat, but I personally don't have one. I do want a dog though. I've always wanted a dog. Kitty Mum, not sure why I never get notifications at Alex's channel. I did this week. He did several live streams, but because of the cruise, but not since then. I'll just have to keep an eye out better. Yes, a lot of people have been saying this. And one thing that I did realize about the live notifications is not only do you have to enable notifications in YouTube and click the bell and go all notifications, you also have to allow notifications on your device, because if you on your phone or whatever have not allowed YouTube to send your phone notifications, you'll only get the notification if you have YouTube open at the time. So you might want to check your device settings to make sure you've allowed YouTube to actually send notifications to the device you're using as well, because then it will pop up. So yeah, some people might not be aware of that. Alrighty. Bear with me 2 seconds. Okie dokie, Jane, that poor girl Kelly, I wanted to hug her and throttle her mother. She's younger than my daughter. I don't get the horrible treatment of children, really angers me. Yes, me too, 100%. And that's one of the reasons I shared Kelly's story and want to raise awareness of these things. I also think it's true. It's horrible what she went through. And I'm really proud and happy that she has had the courage to share her story. A lot of people don't realize that it takes a lot in your mind, firstly, to start watching stuff about Scientology, then to contact someone about your experiences and talk to someone else. And then even bigger of a mission is to speak out publicly about your experiences. And it took me years and years to get to the point where I realized I had a problem in my head still with Scientology, and months from realizing that to actually reaching out to just talk to someone privately, and then several months afterwards to then actually speak out publicly about my experiences. So the fact Kelly has done that just shows she's really brave. And yeah, I'm really impressed. And she deserves a lot of love for that and a lot of respect. Kitty Mom, Aaron has just started the stream. Okay, fab. Well, I'll try and wrap this up then, because I don't want to clash, and you guys can go and watch his stream for sure. I also will be watching it. I'm sure I will see you guys over there. I'll just answer the last couple of these questions. Crystal Soubreau, Alex, after you left Scientology, how did you go about finding housing, employment, etc.? So I signed my Sea organization contract, but I never arrived in the Sea org. I was a staff member at a Class 5 organization at London Church, and the setup there is slightly differently as a staff member to the Sea org. You signed a 2.5 or a 5-year contract to work Monday to Friday, 9 till 6, or evenings and weekends. And you have your own job, etc., outside of that, and it's supposed to fund you being able to work full time for the church. So, housing and employment and things like this isn't so much of an issue for Class 5 staff members. But it is an interesting question to go through in your head about what do I put on my CV or my resume about my time in the church, because I was a director of public book sales. It's a fairly high role to put on your CV as a teenager, that I was responsible for a whole division in an organization. So you have to be creative about what you put on your CV. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I would have stayed on longer, but I know you guys will be torn between me and Aaron, I'm sure, will have a lot more exciting, interesting stuff to talk about than me. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the update on the Charity Commissioner status. As I've said before, like, share, subscribe. That helps get my content out to other people, and I really appreciate the support. If you want to support financially, you can join as a member. There are some good perks, or down below, buy me a coffee, financially support. Really appreciate it. But yeah, keep up the communication, guys, in the comments. I really appreciate it. And I will be coming soon to you guys with the results of the SP challenge. I've tallied up the votes, and it's clear who the winner is. So stay tuned for that, and I will be revealing all very, very soon. So thank you so much, guys. I will catch you guys on the next one.